Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Are we on? Oh, good morning, everyone.
I think so.
I hesitated a minute. I hope everyone's okay, and I'm glad you're all here today. Um,
Danny Doodle, Shorty Pie, Just Me, Estiana, Milk Honey and Mayhem. Hey, Jamie. Marianne, I already said Shorty Pie. Just Me, did I say that?
I
Yeah,
think
so
so.
that looks like everybody right now. Hopefully, we got everybody's name. How is everybody on this Monday? Hey, Carissa, Kathleen. There. Cool, cool, cool.
So I just real quick, somebody asked how the book is coming, and I was just explaining to Toddie I have to hold off a minute. I probably have a few more chapters I have to write um, based on some things. So I can't publish it like I wanted to because there's some things I do need to put in there that will be very important to the book. So it'll be a little bit longer, but I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. You will be happy with it once it comes out. It'll be worth the wait.
Hey, CJB, how you doing? Yeah.
And I just want to mention, I know we don't talk about politics or any of that stuff on here, but the young man who was shot and unalive this past week, I want to pray for his family. I hope all of you will too. I don't care what anybody's views are. I don't think they should be taken out like that. I think it's wrong, and the people that are thinking it's wonderful and cheering about it and celebrating it, shame on you. I mean, he was a human with children. Whatever his views were politically, he didn't deserve what he got. That's my opinion. But I don't want to get into politics. I just wanted to share that
But I want
briefly.
to piggyback off that for a second, just because he was a 31-year-old man. And this might not be popular either. I didn't share any of his beliefs that I know of. But what I did know was he was only 31 years old. He had two children that maybe could have helped him change his views a little bit. He was young enough where he could have been flexible, where he could have learned something from his children that might have turned him into that might have just changed his views, and that will never happen, because he's gone now.
Right.
But he was only 31. So, at 31, I'm a big age. I thought I fucking knew it all at 31. Let's be real.
Right.
So I mean, there's no grace in that. Again, I don't agree with his views, but he was a 31-year-old young guy. He was a young guy who still could have had changes in his life that won't happen.
Exactly. I mean, that's my point. We don't always agree with everything, everyone says, but it doesn't mean you go shoot them. Yeah, you just, you know, it's just
And
wrong.
his children were right there.
And they have to, that they're going to, well, hopefully, I don't know how old they were and I don't know how much they saw, but I
They'll see
mean,
it again and again and again, though, Rebecca, because it's
right,
on
of
the
course
internet.
they will. Of
And they'll
course.
see people celebrating. They'll see people
That.
celebrating.
And then sometimes you have to wonder, are now they going to be a target because being his children or his wife, is she a target? It's
Right.
pitiful, the world we live in. There was a candlelight vigil somewhere around here that my daughter was planning to go to. And I told her pretty much, I said, well, yeah, write a will, whatever. Let me know what you're doing with Eliana if you go, because you could be killed there. I said, she's like, don't be ridiculous. I said, Brie, all it takes is for one crazy person who's got a conceal to carry and they got a gun strapped to their hip. And if they don't agree with what's being said, they start firing shots. You could be in the line of that. That they're not targeting you, no, but you could get shot, or hurt. She ended up not going.
Good. His daughter is 3. Somebody said, I want to read you something. I wasn't going to read it. I'm going
Sure.
to read it. So I've been covering the Whitakers on this channel. I've been covering the Whitakers for about a year and a half. on the other channel. And I often, because I have subscribers that watched me because of the Whitakers, when something pops off, sometimes they'll write and say, "Hey, Toddie, have you seen this?" And listen, I'm always checking on the Whitakers. I'm checking on them. So something came in and the family is now split up. And it's touched a lot of our hearts about that. And I tried to reach out to a channel and talk to a content creator who's obviously, I don't know on what side, but he's not on Team Whitaker side but anyway, somebody in the comments of, he and I had an argument, but it wasn't anything. It was a ridiculous misunderstanding per se. And on the video, I did call him a tool. And I apologized in the comments. I said, you're right. I did. I apologize for that.
Right.
But you said that you weren't biased, and you clearly are biased. You're saying that this guy helped you. So this guy's involved in it. You would be biased. I don't want to get into all of that, but I asked if he and I could, let's talk. Let's talk. If we're both on the same side of bringing these people home and seeing everything, let's talk. And anyway, he didn't want to do that, but somebody sent me this from a video I did that just said, Mr. Watson has declined to meet. Weak man. I said he was a weak man because he started calling me names on the channel. And now it's like, let's talk about it. So somebody wrote and sent this message. Well, this was in the comments. You are such a faker. You are only covering this for money, and I hate you more than I ever hated anyone. I may be coming for you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Went to the police about it. Well, they came here yesterday. Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
That's a threat. I mean, that's a threat. The guy's name is right there.
Wow.
But yeah, now this guy doesn't know me from Adam. We're talking about a family, and that's what you get. So that's what's in this world. When you get something as stupid as that, I hate you more than, man, you must live a charmed life. If you hate me more than anybody you've ever hated, you must live a charmed life.
Amazing.
And it's not the content creator that wrote that. It's just somebody who I guess is a stan for that content creator, which I have stans too. But I would, if somebody said something like that, I would address that person. I'm not saying this guy had to do that. I don't want somebody doing that to anybody. I may be coming after you. I don't need the mafia.
No.
I can take care of my own things. And if I can't do it by conversation, but at least let's try. You know what I'm saying? You got to converse. But when you have people that have decided who you are, again, that comment, when somebody decides who you are, that's who you are. So now I have people sending me stuff about this guy saying that I'm a pill popper. Like this stuff. Now, he said, I don't know if he said that I am one or he thinks I am. There's a big difference there. So, but, and supposedly he worked in law enforcement. That's a huge problem.
For me, opinion. That's always a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge problem. But, yeah, to have somebody write such hatred, they don't know who you are. And they're taking somebody else's word.
Yeah.
Because I did say that I was gay. I said, I don't know if it's, he called me a thing. That's what it was. Somebody I think he called me a thing, or somebody called me a thing. It wasn't him. I take that back. But he's called me now, obviously, and my nappy hair. In 2025, you're calling somebody nappy head.
Nice.
So his intelligence, it didn't have to escalate this far, but it escalated too far now. And if he was in law enforcement, no, I see why he's not anymore.
Right.
So, But, again, being accused of something that you're not, because you see a different side to a story. Why isn't it okay to agree to disagree? Look at what's happening in the world. And let me tell you something. As you know, I don't know that you know this. I did a video on Charlie Kirk because I had a lot of people saying, Toddie, are you going to speak on it? And listen, the subscribers are what keeps my channel alive. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm here for them. Yes. I mean, it's the
I
content
agree.
that keeps them going. So when enough of them say, hey, Toddie, are you going to do this? I say, I wasn't going to do it, but there's a reason why all of these people are saying, hey, Toddie, why? Like at least a dozen people,
Right.
And I said, I guess I don't know how I'm going to, I'm a gay woman. I'm a gay woman who believes in pro-life, but I'm a gay woman who believes in pro-life, who doesn't think this guy needed to be taken out like that, especially like that, but to be taken out because of his beliefs. Now, granted and fine, his beliefs could have spun into something that we would have to live by. They could have spun into a law. And I would assume that that is why this person took him out. I would assume, right? Because if
Right.
you don't, I mean, I don't know why people unalive people. I don't know. I'm sure there's many reasons. I don't know if this guy feared, and I'm not finding excuses. This guy that unalived him, he deserves the punishment that's coming his way.
Definitely.
But you have to be able to talk. Once we stop talking, it's over. It is over once we lose to communicate, whether it's between another content creator on a small scale like this, or whether it's this big where it's on national television at a convention. It's you have to communicate, and that's a huge problem in this country. Nobody is willing to put themselves in anybody else's shoes. You know, uh,
No,
you
I
know.
agree.
I know people that are that conservative. One of my best friends is in the Bible Belt. I mean, Southern Baptist, no contraceptive. That's what she believes. And we still find love for each other.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
just don't understand. Somebody being gay has got to touch everybody now, because there's no doubt in my mind that you have a gay person in your family. In every family, there's a gay person or a confused person. I
Right.
mean, you have to. Who are we not to accept people for who they are?
Exactly. I can remember my daughter Nicole, Nikki, when she was 16. She told me she was dating somebody, and I said okay. And she dated some boys here and there, but whatever. And she said, I'm going to bring them over to meet you. And I said, okay. And she said, it's a girl. I said, okay, bring her over. And she brought Courtney over, and I just loved Courtney. And Courtney is still in our lives to this day. And it didn't bother me in the least that Nicole was dating a girl. I didn't care. I loved Courtney. And, like I said, Courtney's still a big part of our family to this day. And they've been broken up for years. But I gained a daughter, basically, in Courtney. And I'm not embarrassed by my daughter. People get this. Some people, I think they're afraid they're going to catch gay, like it's contagious or something, or
I think it's more about looks,
and
Rebecca. I mean,
maybe I don't know. I don't know
like
what people.
half the people, I think that half the people that back in the day it used to concern in my life weren't unconcerned. They weren't concerned about me being gay, but it was more like, oh shit, how am I going to tell my friends? You remember, you know, my dad had a boat that he was very generous, very fucking generous with, and and when I say a boat, I mean a sports fishing yacht, that he would say that I could take out as many times as I want, as long as we tipped the captain and the mate and brought them lunch. Now, do you know how much it costs to fuel a boat like that?
Oh
But
yeah.
my dad was really, really generous. Oh, I forgot where I was going with this, but it had something to do with, I'm sorry. Um, I know I'll get it back. What were we talking about? I'm sorry. I need you to bring it
About
back.
being gay and
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so my
yeah.
dad, so I wanted to take somebody out on the boat for a date. Like I said, that's a nice romantic dinner down the Intracoastal Waterway. I'll make lobster and steak, and that's what I'll make for dinner, and this will be a date. So I asked my dad, and I remember later he was saying he called his captain into his office, and he said, my daughter wants to have the boat for a date, but her date's going to be female. So I remember what a big deal it was back in the day, for that. And my dad, I don't think he ever had a problem. Originally he said, well, that's a phase you're going through, and my answer was, well, it might be a phase, but I'm living it now. you
Right.
know and I knew that answer would be the end of it, because what are you going to do? I am living it now. There's no way out of that. And
Right.
but he ended up really liking a lot of the people that I dated, and that he met. He really liked Jen. I mean, a lot. He really, really liked Jen a lot. And when Jen and I moved to Florida, we actually stayed in. There was like a mother and daughter suite. You know what I mean? That is off to the house, and then there's another one that was like a nursery that had 2 rooms and like a little kitchen. So we stayed there at first, and then my brother and his new wife, who was pregnant, came, and we moved to the other side. But my family loved Jen. They if they didn't like somebody, it wasn't because they were female. It was because they didn't like that person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But there are so many people that are stuck on what things look like.
Right.
And that's the worst part. If you have no real conviction of how you feel, why do you care what your neighbor thinks?
Right.
So
Right.
thank
Yeah.
you, Kathleen. Yeah, I understand. I understand that the guy, of course he's someone like him is not good. Someone like him is absolutely dangerous. Absolutely. Anyway, his name is in the thing. And of course I called the police. They came here last night, and I put in a complaint about that guy.
At
So
least you have a report, and it's documented, because I know it's
because the guy
very
was stupid
important.
enough to put his name down there. So
Yeah, very important to document everything, as you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
what's going on with everybody else? Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
Milk Honey and Mayhem says that when she went to the prom, she didn't get to go because her date was a female. I remember her actually
Oh
telling.
no,
I remember her telling me that. Well,
that's horrible.
and what year was that, Jamie? And you got to remember, this is Pulaski, Tennessee. So that's a real hard. Back in the day, I mean, I don't know. I think that back in the day, certain areas, it wasn't a problem for them to let you know that you weren't welcomed in their community.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just know my family was very accepting of.
1996, Jamie says, I'm sorry.
No.
Good morning, Mindy.
Good morning. My family was very accepting of Nikki, and my brother, he was a bit of a comedian, and I hope nobody takes offense to what I'm going to say, but we were all at my sister's one night, and Nikki and the girlfriend Courtney were there, and this was after they'd been together quite a while. And my brother says, I have a serious question, because he had no experience knowing any gay couples. He's like, are one of you like the man and one the woman, or how does it work? And they just looked at him and said, it doesn't matter. Like, he had been drinking and stuff, and he chuckled to himself because he thought he was kind of funny, and nobody took offense to it, but it was a legitimate question for him. He didn't know if someone plays the role of,
yeah. Back in the day, there was Butch and Femme, right? That's
right.
really what it was. So let me see. There's a few people that have said things that I want to. So Estiana MS says, my middle daughter says, love is love wherever you find it. She was 7 years old when she says this. I've been with my female partner for 24 years this month. Congratulations. My daughters have always been accepting.
Good.
Good morning, Mindy. Mindy's in the chat.
Hey, Mindy.
Jelly Ugandan Knuckles too. How you doing? You mean he teased too like a sibling? Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, meaning my brother. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So my dad heard someone talk shit about me once and told him to his face that I was more man. Jamie's dad says, my daughter's more man than you'll ever meet.
That's kind of funny.
Very funny.
But I could hear my dad saying that, though. He had some funny lines too, and my brother. But
Yeah.
My dad, as a matter of fact, was still living when, Courtney came into Nikki's life, and he didn't understand that Courtney was a girl.
Mm.
And, when he would see her, she would go get my dad a beer out of the fridge and just be really nice to him. And he said one day, I really like that fella. And my sister said, Dad, that's Courtney. That's Nikki's girlfriend. Well, he's a nice guy. It went over his head, I guess. I don't know. But we still talk about it to this day because my dad's no longer here.
Right.
So we talk about it. And that's one of the funny memories we have about him. He was convinced she was a guy. And so that's what he went with. And you couldn't tell him any different. So.
That's it, right?
But he liked her or him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny. It's funny how people decide who we are before we get in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm not plugging anything, but I'm, with this Whitaker thing, I really wanted to talk to other content creators about the situation because there is such a spectrum and it's so polarized, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm going to be talking tonight with a content creator who has her master's in psychology. So I'm excited about that.
Should get a lot of good information, some insight. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really, really sad. Do you know anything about the Whitaker family or no?
Just what I'm learning on your channel. And, weekends are hard for me. So now I have to play catch up all week,
No, you don't. You don't have to.
No, I need to because I'm very interested. And I believe they're from West Virginia, correct? I have family in West Virginia and Kentucky. So, of course, this is intriguing to me.
That's what it is, to see how other people live. And it seems like a lot of people in West Virginia in the hollers live like that.
It's very laid back.
That's their normal.
Right. They're laid back. I'd say they're 20 years behind the rest of the world and they don't care to catch up. That's just their way of life and you're not going to change it,
Well, they changed it. Trust me, they changed it because now 3 of those, the nonverbal family is they're under the state's care now.
Yeah, I did hear that. And I don't know how that came about. But I don't know. It's sad when, it's sad when they break up a family, no matter how old the family members are, because that's all they know.
Especially when the 3 that they have in state's care are nonverbal.
Right. That's difficult because you know what? They can communicate with their family because they've been with them all along. So the family will know what a certain noise or gesture means. These people
The
aren't going to
sister
know.
Betty, the more or less the caretaker of the family, she's an old lady herself. I mean,
Yeah.
and she has her own health conditions and herself. She did the best she could with the family, but she understood everything that those people were saying to her. That's her family. Those are her people,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And I never heard her say anything to her sister Lorraine like what, or I don't understand, or I mean, and we're struggling trying to understand what Lorraine says to us. A lot of it is noise, but and that's my big concern, to be honest with you, is the way the country is now with the unemployment and the lack of empathy and compassion, and you have these people that could, I'm sure, be very frustrating to have in your care, right?
Right.
And you lose your temper. I mean, there's elder abuse. That's not something I'm making up. And
No.
a lot of it happens inside of these facilities,
Right.
and that's incredibly sad, because how are they going to tell people? That's a big worry, so that's my main issue is,
Right.
how are they going to tell if somebody
I
mistreats?
don't understand. I have to catch up, like I said, so I don't know exactly what's going on. I think Mindy's thinking that they were children that were removed from the home, but no, they're grown-ups, Mindy. This is a
No, they're
family.
grown-ups. They're older than us.
Yeah, but
I mean,
she'll catch up. She'll get into the story and catch up eventually with it. But what I was saying is, why did somebody have to go take charge and take these individuals from the person that takes care of them and communicates? Instead, why not give them the means they needed, put them in a better home and set them up and let them continue? I can't hear you, Toddie. Did you mute yourself? Or did I? Oh, there you go.
yeah, I don't know why, but
I don't know what happened.
yeah, no worries. No,
I
what
can't
happened?
hear you.
You still can't hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, Bouncing Tigger, how you doing? So what happened was they wanted my volume's not low. Hang on. Let me see. It was a content creator that came in there and decided what was best for the family. He went to protective services twice and could not get a protective order against the family. And all of a sudden, abuse came into play. And yeah, so you see what it took to get that. And you have to ask, what about math there? 2 times you don't get a protective order, and magically there's abuse that you get to claim the 3rd time and you get the order. It's just skeptical. You know what I'm saying? I'm very skeptical about that. And then the guy leaves. Doesn't even face the woman that took care of the family, doesn't even look her in the eye. And there was 2 guys. One guy lives in the area, and I think, and I could be wrong, I don't think he's guiltless here.
Right.
Okay, but I think he has a genuine caring for the family, and he has to face the family. He's living there. He lives in that right there in that area.
Right.
The other guy says he took the money and went, but then I saw something where he says he gave the money. There's a video that came out last night, but I told you something happened last night, and yeah, that kind of screwed up me. I mean, things happen, but my sound is still messing up.
I hear you fine now. It was just really low for a minute, but now it seems fine.
Okay, people are saying that my voice sounds a bit robotic.
Oh wow! No, to me, I hear you fine.
I don't know if it's clipping. It might be clipping. Is that any better? Is that any better, people? I'm trying to make it good for you. Oh, Jelly, you got into Knuckles too? If you're not aware of that story, please check that out. You don't have to check it out on my channel, but please check it out. Don't check it out on other. Wait, please check it out on my channel. Stream is glitchy. The stream is glitchy. Says we're freezing up. That I don't think that.
Oh, I don't notice
that
that.
you have
I
a
don't know.
lag. You have a lag. I see that, like, but so I think it's a Wi-Fi issue. Jamie says I have my mic. It reads fine. It might be a streaming issue. I apologize if that's the case.
Yeah.
I know that you were freezing up a little bit, but you're beautiful, so we like to look at you. There's not a bad shot of you, lady.
Oh,
Good, Jelly. I'm glad that you're watching because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to get. I think once you get in the state care,
yeah.
it is so
And
hard
your
to get
voice
out of
is
it.
never heard again. They just silence you. They take control, and it's their way, and it's they won't go out of their guidelines. They're gonna decide everything that happens to those people now, and it's probably not going to be good decisions.
Yeah, and there's confusion because some people are thinking, oh, it's because of the way the house was. That's not why they were taken out. They were taken out because of the ABUSC charges, because they could have stayed with Patrick. You know what I'm saying? They could have stayed with one of the guys. They could have they to rent for a month, and they would have been ahead of the game.
Right.
But that wasn't what I think the agenda was. I think originally the agenda was, I want to give the benefit of the doubt and say that I think the agenda originally was good, and then they realized how much money they can make, and that's what changed their mind about it. And money became the number one priority.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. And as a content, yeah, it's something I want to scream about because it's not fair. It's not right. I want to use my voice to call out people that take advantage of other people and that hurt the world in which we live in. Absolutely, I do want to call people out on that. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Mindy, if you want any updates, you can check out Toddie's channel. She's been talking about them a lot.
Yeah, it's this channel. It's not issues with issues with Toddie One Skip has an old playlist of them. The newer stuff is the stuff that I'm talking about, and it's on Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddie One Skip, and it's the last several videos I've done is about the Whitaker family. There's a playlist there. My family is from West Virginia. Many of our people live together for safety. This seemed to be an uncommon condition for people that live in West Virginia in tents alongside the river and stuff like that. So again, that wasn't the reason why they were taken when they have people living like that. So
my family from West Virginia, it wasn't uncommon to have say there. Their adults, kids may live there, like multi-generations. I mean, it was still, they lived in a nice house and, whatever. But it wasn't uncommon for the extended families to live together. And I don't know what the reason behind it was. I never asked. It was just normal to me that all of them would be, they all lived in the same house.
Well, they had to, but to be honest with you, like the guy that was supposedly getting the house built and all that stuff was like a 4-bedroom house. Somebody said 5-bedroom house. That's what they need. They needed a 2-bedroom little double wide trailer or even a single wide with 2 bedrooms and I mean, two bathrooms would have been nice, but at least one bath with the shower. And he tried to say, see, here's the thing. He talks out of like you can't have adults living, siblings living in the same room after a certain age if they're of different sex. But there's really 4 people that we were concerned with. It was Betty, it was Lorraine, it was Timmy, and it was Ray. So the 2 men could have been in one room and the 2 women in another room. And there you go. That's 2 bedrooms. And so, but this guy took it, I think, I don't know what the hell, because that wouldn't have been good enough for them. Nope, they needed this house made by the Amish. No. If you're saying the situation was as dire as it was, why didn't you use your head with the money you had? You could have got them something. Hell, you could have got them something like I have right now, and they would have been okay for the time being until next pay period on YouTube.
He could have got them a trailer and pulled it right up to where they currently live.
Well, there is a trailer. One of the brothers and his daughter is taking a lot of heat now because they're trying to use her as a scapegoat. I'm not saying she is at all guilt-free or innocent in this, but she was nothing like this except for the fact that she had a drug problem. And she had a drug problem when she was 40. She had, so that's old for that. And she got pretty deep into it. And she was 45 when the interview that I saw took place. So, and she was in tears, crying about how much she didn't want to be one, just struggling out. And I believe that because, listen, I know, I've been in that field. So I do believe that that BJ was having a hard time with it. And, like we talk about addiction and such like that, but they've turned her into an ABUSCR and everything. So this guy that had child protective services couldn't get rid of BJ. BJ is their family. You are a stranger. Why did you even give them that ultimatum? Who were you to give them that ultimatum?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And give people of challenged mind an ultimatum right away.
Right.
That's
I agree.
From my understanding, the land across the street does belong to the land doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the parents, and the parents have deceased, have been, so I don't know how that they would get it some way somehow, but the way our system works, they might get it, but it might not be while any of them are still alive. It's just, we work in slow motion.
Most definitely. Just a sad situation all around. It really is.
It's a horrible situation, and I mean, I think of them like a lot of times during the day. I think of being so frustrated with trying to say what they're trying to say and not be able to get it out. Imagine that. Right. I've had dreams where, where I feel like I can't wake up.
Right.
That helpless. And that's the best way that I could try to understand how they feel. Like that helplessness of there's nothing that they could do. So, there's a lot.
I wonder if they get a lot of traffic, like people trying to come and check them out and look at them. Does that happen?
They absolutely did. There was one guy that I did, and he and I had it out. Excuse me. It was, I want to say, I don't want to give out the channel's name because he hasn't been dealing with them, but him and his brother came by, and I called him out on it. I said, why are you, who goes to somebody's house very much, but I don't want you
Right.
coming by. No one, I mean, I would invite you. If you said, hey, Toddie, I want to come by. Okay. But if you just showed up on my
Right.
door just to say, hey, what are you doing? I'd say, Rebecca, go back to Jersey and call. I mean, like, everybody likes their privacy, yes?
Right, of course.
People are always out on their porch. People are coming up and taking pictures. They come up with their cameras already going. Imagine that.
No.
In this family, these two brothers that I was talking about, you can see it in the video. These two brothers that I'm talking about, not the two that they're not brothers, these two that have done the recent thing, but the two brothers, you could hear at the end of the video where they're saying, yeah, we'll go. We just want to get Ray Ray. We just want to get Ray Ray. If you get Ray Ray to come out here and say hello, then we'll leave.
Oh my
Who
God.
does that? So, I mean, and then there's one woman that came up, I think she had a Tesla. Okay. And
I saw.
Elon Musk, and Larry was saying, I don't know who Elon Musk is. Yeah.
Disgusting.
So it is disgusting, but Google Earth does have a pin in their address.
Wow.
Doesn't mean you have the right to go by there.
Right.
You know, that's just common sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to listen. I go and would never think about even going out of my way to look to see if they're on the porch. I wouldn't. So I just think that that's absolutely atrocious, you know. But bringing light to the situation, donate money. We'll do the 10% like we did on the other channel, and you know, I don't know where the money's going. You know, at that point in March, we're going to have to see their situation, and you know, if we could send money to the place that they're in, if they're still in a place that will allow them to have some personal things or things that they may be. Either which way, you know, the money will be out of my account and it will go to something that has to do with the Whitakers, and the channel will decide, because the viewers are the ones that make it possible. So they're the ones that are going to have to say, hey, you know, they got to feel good about which way the money's going. So
I'm finding, Toddie, that week after week, we don't have anybody talking about addiction or anything. And
more than welcome to talk about that, as you know.
yeah, I feel like that's more what we're talking about. It seems just daily life, that's for sure. You know, but again, I just want to remind everyone, if you do have an issue and you want to talk about that, that's fine too. Otherwise, we can keep going with this. I'm okay with this. I just enjoy everyone's company on Monday morning. I do. So,
is there anybody that wants to come on? Because we could drop a link if anybody has any struggles that they're struggling with, that they need to talk about, or anything like that. You're welcome to.
okay. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee.
Well, I have that too. My cold water, my new favorite thing is these Waterloo.
What is that? Oh, okay. I think, you told me about this, right? Yeah.
This is my new favorite flavor. It's the lemon, Myers lemon blueberry.
Oh, wow. I bet you it's good.
It is good, but I drink way too much water now, which is a lot better. I used to drink soda.
Yeah.
You know, my
Much
San Pellegrino, I used to love that San Pellegrino, but it had
Yeah.
calories in it and stuff.
Yeah.
This one has none, and but it does have a flavor from electrolytes, but it doesn't, you know, I can't do stevia.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that. Stevia gives me, because I love having Monday morning coffee. That's what it should just be called, is Monday morning coffee.
Yeah, and then we just go into conversation, because we talk about anything from head to toe. I mean,
Well, listen,
We don't leave anything out.
before somebody, I think, struggles with drugs, I think they struggle with life.
I think so, and it may lead to that. Everybody
That's
takes
what
a
I-
different
Yeah.
path, you know,
Yeah.
and that's how we seem to be off topic. I think we always get back to topic at some point during our conversations. But
Jamie says it doesn't matter what we talk about. I just love all of us being here together. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about this for a second. So Jamie, all right. I hope I don't nah. Jamie and I got something special planned, but I'm gonna stop there because it really isn't us. It involves us, but there's other content creators. So I think that I'm just gonna let that sit. And I'm sorry I mentioned it.
will it be soon? Will you give us some warning?
It will be very soon, actually. It will be within the next 48 hours that this is going to happen. But I just don't want to. I don't feel good about. When I started to say it, I was like, oh shit, maybe that channel wants to say it. Let me not ruin that for them. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to ruin that for them. But I think people will find out today what's going on. I think they'll find out today what's going on the next 72 hours or 40. I think 72 hours.
Okay. Having lost a good friend who she just ended our friendship. Well, I got comments from her friend who also ended her friendship with me after, saying that's not how it happened. Like she was arguing with me on after the live, but where you could still make comments. I figured out how to do that. But I thought I'm not going to block them from my page because obviously they have this need to be in my presence. And if Monday mornings are the only way for them to do it, then come on in, let's talk. That's the way I'm looking at it. I know what happened. And, of course, they feel like something happened a different way. And, there's no reasoning with either one of these two that I'm dealing with because I don't want negative coming onto this channel. I know it will from time to time, but my thing was they're not my friend on any social media. Nobody has texted or called me in 2 years. But you're going to stalk my page and hear whatever you were involved in, and then you're going to comment to me? Come on. You have my phone number. For 2 years, you could have called, text, said something.
Well, did you give her name out? I think you did say a first name.
The only thing I said was the friend's name. The friend was being a Karen, and ironically, her name is actually Karen.
That's right. So
Right. I didn't say which Karen.
right.
I know, there's several Karens in the world, so I guess they were guilty and knew it, so they felt like they had to, make a comment about it. But
so I just want to try to, because me, I'm always giving people the benefit of the doubt to talk to you, but maybe somebody brought it to. Maybe they don't watch the channel at all.
Maybe somebody else
Yeah,
told them.
exactly. Like I get that. I get, people send me stuff, or people call and say, "Hey, did you see?" Like the thing that I showed you with the guy that threatened, that hated me more than ever. That came from my friend that saw that and said, "Hey," and so I guess the lesser of the two evils. Listen, the one thing would be that she cares, and this was the way that she kept up with your life, right?
Right.
But if that's this, she sees it this way, this isn't the way that I see it. Let me reach out to her and just say, this is the way that I saw that, Rebecca.
Right. And
that, again, conversation, communication.
Karen who messaged, it was the other one, her friend, who also unfriended me, or she says she didn't, I did it, whatever. And I said to her, you know, you and I had a conversation after Karen ended our friendship. I called you, we spoke, I was hurt by this. I said, and it was very apparent in that conversation whose side you were taking. So I didn't reach out again. Right. You know, but I'm the bad guy. They feel 100% they did the right thing. And, you know, they see it a different way. Oh, you blocked us from Justice for Corey. I said, I have no power on Justice for Corey. I can't, you know, so that wasn't me if it happened. But when they unfriended me, of course, Bree and I had a conversation. Then what do they need to be on Justice for Corey for? Just to be nosy? They're not supportive of it. If they can drop me like that in my time of need, then obviously they don't give a shit about what's going on, you know. Right. So then the admins on Justice for Corey, I guess, decide. Do you know what I mean? We should let them continue to follow the group and be nosy, basically, if they don't care about it. So that's what happened. But there's no explaining anything to either one of these two that are involved, because they're big mouths and they talk over you and they're never going to get it anyway. So I said it on here. If somebody reports back to them what was said again today and they reach out again or put comments, I'm not even going to block them. Maybe
what I learned, you know, through the ugly side of this is that it's very much like the ugly side of life, except that people have a lot more balls because they're sitting behind a computer and they could be states away or even countries away, right? So people feel like there's no repercussions, but that's not the truth. There are repercussions for things. And I mean, it might take a minute to get there, but it gets there. Right. And also, you know, when I've always been in the habit, when somebody leaves a stupid comment, you know, I usually pin it. Yeah, I make it, you know, it's how they look. It's not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on them. And a lot of times they get pissed off and go away and such because, you know, but I do remove people from my channel now. Not people that disagree with me, but people that spew hatred and that's all they want to do. They don't want to listen. They don't want to, and listen, they don't have to like it my way, but don't blanket statement me. Right. I mean, like, at least have a conversation with me and allow me to defend myself. If you're not going to do that and you're going to come back with another comment that's just insulting to me, take your poison elsewhere. I'm blocking you from my channel. I felt like she came on here to try to discredit me in front of other people, to make me look bad for no other reason. You know, why else would you bother, you know? And it's really funny. And I know this has nothing to point, but I just, real quick, for anybody who's interested in hearing how this whole thing started, we were going through the court system for my grandson Corey's murder trial. And, you know, trial was coming up, but we didn't know what the date was going to be. So another Justice for Corey member, a generous woman I was very fond of, I won't say her name, but she was so good to me and my family during the whole trial and everything. We did things together. So anyway, this particular Justice for Corey member said, hey, why don't you and me and a bunch of the girls from Justice for Corey go away? I have this, I don't know if it was a timeshare or something. All we got to do is pay airfare and tip the people at the resort for your drinks, food, everything was included. I don't know if it was called a time to do that. And she said, yeah, invite your friends. I said, okay. What do? I called who I thought was my closest friend. And I told her all about it, and she said, oh, wow, me and Anne Marie had
talking about going there for the longest time. Now, Anne Marie being one of her close friends, but I was friends with Anne Marie too. I
Right.
said, well, tell her we're going. She can come. You know, all we got to do is get our passports. So when the group invited us, and she knew this woman too, so it wasn't like strangers. You know, I thought we'd all have a great time. What a great trip. Get my mind off of this trial coming up, and you know, so that was on like a Tuesday, and a few days later, my friend calls me and says, how do I go about getting the passport? I see here I can go to the post office, I can go there. I said, yeah, that's how you do it. And she's like, oh, I'm going today. I said, oh, me and Ann are planning it. You know, with the trial and everything, like, you know, I know it'd be difficult. So me and Ann are going to go. And I'm like, oh, yeah, because, you know, we were always talking about it, so we're just going to do it. So her and her friend decided that they were going to go. And, you know, so like the invite I extended, maybe I shouldn't have been hurt because maybe they had been talking about going and this just pushed them in that direction. But it was
Again,
like
communication would have been nice. Why do you have to play a guessing game with your friends?
Right. And I said, well, what do you mean because of trial? I'm planning to go anyway. Like I said, I just invited you to go. Like I know the trial's coming, Anne Marie, and they planned their trip and left me out. And I didn't get mad. I was hurt, and I said that, and that's when I got that note about being too needy and too difficult.
The reason why they didn't want you to go was because they didn't want to hear about everything you were going through.
Yeah, and you
know what? They could have said that, and you know, it would have been a conversation that might have been uncomfortable, but it could have saved a friendship.
Yeah.
See, that's when people leave because they're cowards. Right. Like, because they didn't want to have a conversation that would have been difficult and say, Rebecca, horrible. And that would be a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have turned into what it turned into. And it turned into this because people don't have the courage to have a conversation. Like, have a conversation. Right. What's the worst that could happen? Have a conversation.
Yeah. And not send a message through Facebook to end a friendship. A friendship meant to her. She was the maid of honor at my wedding.
Yeah, no, I know that you're hurt over that. I know.
It sucks, but what is more hurtful is that they're going to come and attack now after the fact when I talk about it. You know?
Yeah.
It's, you know, then if we both remember it different ways, then whatever. I'm still going to talk about my feelings on my show, and that's what I said. Right. This is my channel. I'm going to talk about whatever I want.
Right.
You can disagree. Come on up, and maybe why don't we bring her on the panel? Maybe she wants to talk about it. You know. You know,
that would totally be up to you, Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
might be that's a good idea to.
That might be a WWE event.
Yeah, I think that apparently we're glitching really bad. Am I glitching as well, or is it just for Rebecca? Because I mean, she glitches, but I don't see myself glitching.
I move around a lot too. They may take that as a, you know, I just
no, there's glitching. I see that when there's a glitch.
I don't know.
Both of us. They're saying it's both of us. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to say. I got a full signal here, 100% signal here.
Yeah, I don't see a problem, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a horrible thing. Did you end up going at all or no?
No, I never went. You know, a few months later, trial came, and you know, we continued to talk about going, and then I never went. Life happened, and I never got to go. And
did they stay at the place you were going to stay at, or did they stay at?
They went in the vicinity of it. I don't know if they stayed at the exact one, but my thing was this: this was handed to them. All they had, but
right.
No, and
yeah, but you don't want trying to
thought
use
it would
for that
take my
either.
mind off of everything. And I can tell you that, throughout this whole thing with Corey and with Gino, I do talk about other things, and my friends knew that. It wasn't always about that. It would probably come into topic at some point if we were hanging around 3, 4, or 5 hours. But, that's not all I would talk about. And I like to think if I was in this beautiful place with nice, beautiful water, trying to breathe that all in and maybe not talk so much about it. That was the reason for this other person wanting to take me. She thought it would be good for me.
Right.
But apparently other people saw it different. So,
Well,
they
thought it would be good for you.
like I said, it bothers me because they feel like they did the right thing. Like, she thinks that sending me that message, ending the friendship, like, she stands behind it. Like, oh, hell yeah, I did that. You look like an asshole to people looking in.
Yeah.
She's not a content creator or anything. When I say her followers, her circle of friends all agree with her to her face. Behind her back, maybe not. But,
Right.
whatever. It does, I'm not going to lie. It's still bothersome to me. Do I miss the friendship? Not enough that I think about it daily. I talked about it on here last week and now again today, but I don't think about it. I have other things to fill my time, this channel, other things I'm pursuing with like Corey's Law and things that are hurtful.
Yeah, I bet.
Life goes on.
It was. I think it was. I mean, I don't know that it was supposed to be. I just feel like, again, why do people have to guess when there's one person willing to talk, to understand? Why isn't? I mean, that's the thing. This is what happens when, and I have this saying: don't make a temporary situation permanent because of the bind right now. So by that action, that stuff in my own life, I can't. I need to just get away to come back and even be there for you. You might not have liked that. You might not have liked it, but you would have understood it. The problem is you don't understand what happened here, and you were treated poorly, like you weren't even thought about. And I don't think that's the case. I think you were thought about, but they were like, I don't have the guts to go through that.
Right.
Because somebody didn't have the guts to go to their friend and say, listen, I don't like it. I like last week when I told you that my friend said, hey, you need to go to therapy, I think, because it's not normal, all those deaths in your family, all those deaths. You know what I'm saying? So there was something that they saw in my behavior, a phone call away. And I said to myself, this person would not say that to me unless there was something that I didn't, unless there was something. And I did. I called the therapist, and I went to therapy for, I want to say, about 2 years, and that was a great thing. And, I could have said, hey, fuck you. It's none of your damn business. Why aren't you just there as my friend? I could have, but you have to trust that the people that are coming, this person I know for over 40 years too. I know they're, so yeah.
Right. Real quick, I tried to put this live on my Facebook. I don't know if anybody hears this because I don't know what I'm doing. You are
Facebook,
okay.
Friend.
Can you check that for me? Because I don't know if it's been going on now.
Right now. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it right now. Let me see. Monday morning talk with Toddie. Yeah. Yeah.
It's on Facebook too?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yep. It's on. So yep, people can see it. Cool beans.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I figured that one out. Huh?
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Told you get it. Told you get it.
So, I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't.
I'm glad that happens to you too.
Crazy question off topic. Okay. I bought these little rose bushes or something from my local grocery store. They're little rose. Are they plants, flowers? They're tiny, right? I bought them. They're already in a little pot. And I brought them home and I sat them outside and I watered them and they've been in the sun and I watered them again. It looks moldy. It looks gross. And there's like a little bit of green left on these rose bushes, but nothing else is happening. Do you think they're done? Does anybody know?
I would ask Jamie. She knows stuff like that. Danny, what's going on, babe? What's going on with my puppy here? What are you doing standing like that? Let me see. Here, let me close this up, Danny. Let me close this. I don't want to close it on you, but why are you standing just like that? Like you're standing in a corner. Like you're standing in a corner. What's up? What's up, babes? What's up with my girl, huh? What's up?
So I guess now we can say now that we've extended our topic to gardening, maybe too. Too much water.
Yeah, way too much water. Way, not just too much. Way too much water.
Way too much. Telling me this for a month. They're gonna come back. I don't think so.
And now if she doesn't drown them, are they done with?
I was gonna take them out and put them in the ground, but I don't know if it's worth it. Are they done?
Make them thirsty. Danny, what's going on, babe? You all right? What's going on with my potato? What's up? Come here. Come here. No, she's kind of just standing. It's weird. Did the roses have bloom on any of them?
They did, and then it went away. Everything shriveled up. So my thought was, oh, I wasn't giving them enough water, and the sun shriveled them up. They're not absorbing the water because the water is just sitting there making mush, you know. So then I left them out in the sun to try to absorb that water, and it's just, yeah. I think Hazel, I'm going to send them to work with Nikki tomorrow. She can give them to you, and you figure it out. I'm over it.
There you go. There you go.
I hate to throw them away.
Plant them in the ground of the roses here. Of the roses, for sure. How's the weather by you lately?
You know, we've had some nice fall days, and then it gets up to 90 degrees again. And then at night, you're a little cooler. You could open the windows. It's wacky weather, but that's what's supposed to be right now. How about you? Same?
So it's gotten as high as 80 degrees, not 90. But when the sun is beating, it is hot. And it's been in the 50s at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I do. I prefer cool over hot. But,
me too.
But I can't. It's very hard for me to regulate the temperature in my body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Hazel says she's going to talk to them.
Well, you're supposed to talk to your plants. So
that's what she says. I would just plant them.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're trying to promote conversation and communications. So talk to them first before you give up and just plant them.
Yeah.
MS knows how to do roses now. M knows how to do roses now. I named my plants, Hazel said. Must be nice we still have 90s.
90s.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't like the 90s.
Sorry. Me neither, man. Me neither. You
know, it's like you leave the house in the morning with like a hoodie on or a sweater, and then by noon it's tank top. You know, it's like you can't, you don't know how to dress. It's just one of those, it's that time of year. You know, I remember putting the kids on the bus with a jacket on and they come home without it, you know, because it got hot during the day kind of thing. So that's what it is. I just hope it levels out and we get our fall and it stays fall for a while.
That is my favorite
time.
That's my favorite time. Yeah. Being from Florida, are you kidding me? It's my favorite time of the year.
Yeah. And the driveway is very long, and I'm like, who's shoveling that? What are we going to do about that one if it snows, if we get snow, you know? We didn't last year. I mean, we used to, but something changed with the climate or something. We haven't really seen good snow like that, you know, snow that shuts down school kind of snow.
Yeah,
you know
what I mean?
I mean?
That this year.
I mean, I don't mind as
I
long
don't
as
want it because I am going to be in a camper. I mean, you know, if I go and leave, you know, like that was, you know, that's my plan. You know, I didn't want to. I couldn't rent an apartment with the dogs simply because this dog would have had absolutely no life at all. I already had to put her on Prozac. So what do I got to do? Like have her so drugged out? It was miserable for her. She absolutely that I knew I was going to leave in 2.5 years. So you know, this is what I decided to do because I felt like it's the easiest way to live for us, and I love tiny homes. I just do, you know. I do. I have no regret about this. I just want to make sure in the winter that you know we're warm, and you know, and that's it. You know. Besides that, I'm very happy. And listen, when it's 50 degrees, and I know I've gotten as low as 48. And I woke up, the dog was thriving here.
Right.
You know, because we have a nice yard and they can do, and then there's this park. So, I mean, they're just thriving. I've seen Danny walking with the little strut and stuff like that. And, you know, that makes me happy. You know, listen, I'm responsible for them. That apartment, man, you don't know how many times I thought, oh my God, should I give her back? Because I just see this dog. She's just so unhappy.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad we stuck it out because she is just thriving now.
I know with my dog, we had, you know, the little place I rented before I bought this house in the back door that she could run. She was waiting for the leash. And now, oh my gosh, she runs like a greyhound, you know. She does circles around the yard and she's in the trees. You know, she's just so much happier. And even the cat, he's very unsociable and he doesn't go outside. But when I open the sliding glass door and just close the screen, he'll sit there and watch us outside. So he even
absolutely. That's the thing, man. That's the thing, is that, you know, they are my family, you know. They're my family, and the apartment living was just,
it's not good for them.
And it was, and I had become so sensitive to sound that I couldn't deal with somebody over my head.
Yeah, I don't
deal with somebody over my head. And there was no apartments that I could find that would allow dogs be one level, not have anybody over my head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have 2 dogs, you know what I'm saying? And they're medium-sized to large dogs. So I was just, you know, I could have left the area, but you know, I work. I'm not going to leave the area. But I also have bought homes before. I've bought 2 homes before, and I bought them when the market was high and sold them when the market was in my home. And I know that I'm not going to stay in New York. So when I want to leave, I want to leave. I don't want a house that I'm going to have to wait for somebody to buy, especially 2.5 years. How much would I really make off of a house? I would be upside down. I would be upside down in a loan if I were to take a loan to buy a house. So this year was the best option, and I'm not sorry. We've learned that somebody's going to move in
Right.
this hallway. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to move, and it's usually me that moves for the dog. I try.
You know, I just want to update everybody that I think you all knew I was building this up because there were some other projects that needed the money more than the studio, like the actual house, so it wouldn't fall down. I had to use the money for that. But I found some money this week and the installation is going to start. So I'm just doing it. I don't care if I have to pimp myself out. I'm building
we don't
that
want that to
studio.
happen. We don't want you to pimp yourself out.
No. Trust me, nobody wants this. Don't worry, I'm kidding. But no, I just decided like I got to do this project. I have, and I'm doing it. So the installation part will start, and then after that, I don't know if it's called drywall. What do you call that white stuff that looks like walls? Is that drywall that goes after the installations then? And then paint, I believe, after that. So, you know, I had the electrical, it had electric, but because we were going to put sheetrock and drywall up, the electric had to all be moved. So that was a cost I didn't expect, which I did that a month ago. So I'm doing it in little pieces. That's just how, and thank God this contractor, he's so good to me. He knows that I can't just say, here, yeah, do it all at once. So he works with me. He's like, what can you walk away? I said,
great.
Crazy
That's
lady, I can't work
great.
like that. He's
So
like, he's amazing.
You got a hand.
Yeah, no job is too big or too small for me. He does whatever I ask, and at my pace, you know.
I do. Yeah, I have a young man.
Oh, Hazel asked if we can paint it purple, and it's funny she should ask because when I was at Ray and the painter started painting and he sent me a video, he's like, your paint is drying and it's purple. I don't want to paint your whole house purple. And I said, okay, don't. So I said, I'm not going to throw away all that paint because it was expensive. So I'm using it to paint the studio. So Hazel says, can we paint the studio purple?
There you go. I love it.
And he like, you know, he blue, but this is like a purple hue. It's not bright purple, but you know, of course, my sign, can you hear me now, is going to be in blue. You know, I have a neon sign that I'm having made to go behind me. Actually, we'll all be Corey and Gino and just memorabilia, pictures, you know, things that they liked. So, yeah, I'm just I'm just going forward with it. I have to do it. I said I was doing it, and it's bothering me that it's not done already.
Right.
You know, my book that I need to put in it. So I have to incorporate that into what's already written. So it'll be worth the wait. The book I want to give everybody is I want everything in it. I don't want to leave anything out. And if I publish it, hold yet again. But I want it to be right. So
well, sorry, Jamie, I wanted to ask the question for you. Jamie had asked how you feel about now that you haven't sent the letters monthly. She asked you that at the beginning a while ago.
Well, I almost slipped up and wrote to him when I was feeling not good the other day.
Jamie, look at what you did.
You know, I was having one of those days where if he was in front of me, I would hurt him, kind of thing. And I wanted to write to him and tell him that, but I didn't. Over it, I eat when I'm upset. But you know, I didn't write to him as much as I wanted to. I just have so much hate for him, and I want to write every day and remind him of that, but I think he knows. I don't think he cares. He filed his appeal. Well, he asked for an extension, and he has until October 2nd, I believe, to get his appeal in. I don't know what it's based on yet.
Right.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know which, I have a feeling we're going to see him again in court. I think we're going to probably go to another trial because I think he wants that more, to torture us a little bit more because he thinks he can actually get off on some technicality, I'm sure. But we'll learn what that's all about. Since I do, because that gave me the opportunity to spew hate toward him.
You can still do that. You can still write and just put it away. Maybe you just need to get it out of you, and maybe that'll be enough.
Yeah. But I can't. Toddie knows what I'm talking about when I say things are what's making me triggered. But there's so many things that need to go in this book. Let's just put it that way. There's things I didn't put in the book.
There's things that
I can't share right now, but there are things that need to go in this book because you people are going to be blown away by some of this stuff. And, just brings up all that hate again. The hate never went away for him. And, I think we've all said before that we would not forgive him like others are able to forgive too much and a lot more than we knew. So, yeah, not writing to him, I miss it. But I feel like there was nothing left to say at this point that I didn't already say. So it would have just been repetitive nonsense and have to remind him monthly. But with that being said, I think there may be a day that I do write again to him, but it'll be after appeal, after the civil case is over. I probably will write to him again.
Again, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Again, I think that a lot of that thing, you could just write just to get it out of you. That shouldn't sit inside of you, Rebecca. That I can honestly say is not good for you.
Yeah.
So maybe that is something you need to continue to do, but instead of gracing him with the letter, you just throw it out when you're done writing it.
Yeah. I just hope he gets I don't know. I hope he's, having issues. I hope his family is having issues of some sort. I hope they're feeling a little bit of my pain, but I know it's a different pain for them, because their son is in prison.
Right.
He didn't die, but I know that has to affect them. And I sure hope it doesn't get his head bashed in or whatever, and it could happen. And I sure hope it does, but, so I'm sure they're grieving in a sense because they lost their son. He's in prison. So
yeah, and it's an inconvenience for them, right? How far is Trenton from where they're at? And there's restrictions that this family doesn't seem to like to. They think that what applies to others doesn't apply to them.
Yeah, they're in North Carolina. So
I thought that they were in. That they were.
No, they're in North Carolina.
Okay.
But I'm sure when they come to New Jersey, they visit him, but I don't think it's like a weekly. I don't even know if the visits are in person or if you go in and you pick up that.
Well, here's the thing. So I don't know about that correctional facility or detention center or prison as far as the tablets, But you see how you and I are conversing and we see each other?
Right.
They can do that. Now,
Yeah, they have email. That's how you.
it's not even, they have like these, they have like Zoom calls where you can see faces and stuff. So, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you can, again, I don't know if all the facilities have them. It seems to be like that's the thing. And that just,
Yeah.
you know, I just, I don't like it. I honestly,
Either.
I don't like it. I don't think that they should be sitting in their fucking cell blocks or in the beach area and be sitting there
Right.
watching movies or, you know, writing or being FaceTimed or scamming people. I don't think that any of that shit should be going on. I think that, but the problem is, again, there's not enough help, so they don't want these inmates to go off. But I think that, oh God, it's so systemic. They when I worked in the jail, and this was the old jail, it wasn't even the new jail. So when I worked in the old jail, they had cable television in all these cell blocks. Now, granted, fine, there would be 6 cells, a bunk bed, too. They were so overpopulated in that jail. But their beach area was still within their little cell block, but it was the area that wasn't in the cells, you know, the 6 little rooms. It was the area that had the TV. In each one of these cell blocks, they had cable. They had cable TV where they would watch movies.
Wow.
Where, you know, and watch football games. And yeah, that's the way it was built. They called that the Arlington Hilton.
Wow.
Until the day I left, it was still referred to the Arlington Hilton.
Wow.
And I think I was in that jail for 5 or 6 years after
boy.
that one.
Yeah, I don't think his jail is luxury. It's
Well, it's a prison.
right, prison. It's New Jersey State Prison, Twin State, and it doesn't look like it's very nice. As far as I've been told, it's not very pleasant looking. But who knows? I mean,
that doesn't matter. Can I just tell you that, you know, if you've got your head in a tablet and your mind is someplace else,
no, you pass the time. You're still doing things, you know.
That, you know, it shouldn't be luxury. It shouldn't be, but they should all be required to work. That's my feeling, and they should all be required to have a routine. And a lot of the facilities do, but it seems like when you're listening to these phone calls from prison, and you watch Jumpsuit Pablo, right? Shout out to Jumpsuit. What you see how much time people actually have on those tablets. So the Nick Godejohn, who was Gypsy Rose's co-defendant, he was being scammed while he was there. You know, we had to reach out to the warden and say, listen, can you at least please look at this, because people are holding his money and pay a fee. What's going on here? He's being manipulated, and you're supposed to keep him safe while he's there. That means from the outside too. And so you see what I'm saying? It's
I voiced my opinion about, Chris and, he can still call his loved ones and what's going on in the world. Corey doesn't have that option because of Chris. You know what Chris should have in prison? He should have counseling. He should have a legal pad of paper and a pen, and he should be made to write, I will not kill my child. I will not kill another child. He should be made to write that repeatedly all day long until his fucking fingers bleed. That's what I think. I think we should rehabilitate these scumbags that harm tablet and go watch their movie in their cell with their feet up. That's bullshit to me. They should be someone who goes to prison for harming another person, especially a child, should have a very structured environment, which should include counseling throughout the day, group sessions, one-on-one. They should be punished. That's what I don't want to hear. We have to protect their rights. Fuck their rights. You kill a kid,
That's the
no
first
rights.
thing. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Yep.
That pisses me off. I've called the prison. I don't know if I've shared that with you. And when I ask questions, we have to protect his rights. And I say right on, what the hell? His rights should be out the window. You don't get those rights anymore. But unfortunately,
You're talking to the wrong person about that.
Yeah. No. Well, I've voiced it to everybody, and it's not changing. Nothing's changing. And
yeah, because here's the thing. Bye, Jamie. Jamie, have a good day.
Oh, bye. Sorry, I kept you hanging in there. I know you got to go.
If the wrong person, if one of these people, you play, not that you're playing, but you hit their heartstrings, and they say something that they shouldn't say to you, that what are you stuck with? You're going to give the information, you're going to be loyal to the person that told you. It's a situation, right? And if you're not loyal to the person that told you, and it depends on how bad the situation is, that you can't be loyal, that person could lose their job and everything. That's not the person that's going to change things. That's the person that probably has that frustration, but can't change things.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, he's in prison where he belongs. Now we have this appeal hanging over our heads, which we knew was going to happen. Everybody files an appeal. We all know that. We don't know what it's based on yet. And then you have this fear. If it goes back to trial, maybe, what if it doesn't? Imagine and he gets out, where would that put me and my family?
Right.
No. I'm just thinking ahead.
That sorrow, because you don't know. You could be spending a time in a place that doesn't even exist, to be honest with you.
Right, I know, but it's so hard not to think that way, because I'm a planner. I like to plan ahead, and well, if this happens, we'll do this, or if this, it's just ugly. It's ugly things. Sentencing happened. He's in prison. We're done. Knowing that an appeal could happen, but it's never ending for us, and it's frustrating because there's all the what ifs, and it's hard not to think about it. But I mean, I don't think about it every day. I try to put it away, and when I need to, I'll bring it back out, kind of thing. But it's in the back of my mind, of course, and I can't imagine another trial. I mean, that would be horrific, really a terrible thing. But it's a possibility, or what?
Redone the whole trial.
Well, it depends on what his appeal is based on. I'm being told.
Right.
So, we won't know that until October 2nd or October 4th when he submits his. Actually, because you can't piss off the defendant, the murderer. You have to give him what he wants. Corey didn't get any extensions. I told the lady that, and she totally understood me.
Right. Yeah.
And I always say that, and I know people probably get sick of hearing me say, but it's the truth. Corey got no extension on life. He got no extension when his ass was being beaten every day by this bitch. All the good treatment, got a take care of that defendant, can't piss him off, can't, violate his rights, but
Yeah.
that's our justice system. But does anybody want to talk about anything? Because I am so sure you're sick of hearing me talk about this.
I don't see anybody coming in here.
All right, so do you want to end it and get on with something else?
I can go to sleep, to be honest with you, because I had that thing last night. Yeah.
Next week,
like
we're going to discuss
so.
crocheting and knitting. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know anything
Me
about
neither,
any of
but
those things.
who knows? We might talk about it, right?
There you go. There you
But
go.
I'm just glad everybody was here. Like I said, I enjoy this. This is therapy for me. This is where I go to on Monday mornings, and I'm going to continue to come on here even if nobody else does.
Well, we
it's,
got people that come here and have coffee with us.
That's what it's
And guys,
about.
please come on. Please come on and talk and share. Again, you could put an avatar. You don't have to show your face. You could get another, give a good, just an example. Well, I'm going to use Jamie. So, instead of using Milk, Honey, and Mayhem, Jamie might use a different channel name and come on with an avatar, and we wouldn't even know it was Milk, Honey, and Mayhem.
Right. You don't have to use your face, your name. You can be anonymous,
Hell, you could put a voice changer on if you want to.
Yeah. And we can talk about anything. I mean, changing the car battery to, we're open to what we've become here on this Monday morning chats, But that's we're here to talk about anything, pretty much.
That's true.
If we don't know the answer, we can all Google it together.
That's right. Or we can ask Alexa.
Yes. Yeah, Alexa butts in sometimes when I don't want her to.
Oh, it happens all the time. Just ready to talk to you now.
Oh, I said it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's right. I said it first, so
Funny.
that's okay. That's okay.
So, I guess we're done until next week. If anybody wants to reach out, my email is RebeccaMitchlow3@gmail. Or you could put a message on here or a comment. I'll look at them. Or reach out to Toddie if you have an idea of something.
Toddie1skip@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're here. We'll talk about pretty much anything. I sound desperate, don't I? I don't mean it like that, but I mean, like I said, we've gone off topic. This is more people who are here to talk about everyday life and drink coffee together, whatever you're drinking, and just talk, and that's okay.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone have a good week. And again, if you want to come on, next Monday, just reach out. We're going to have a great week.
Yep.
Okay. Going off. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.